We used to joke if there was a birth control pill for men, they may not actually take it every day. So women can't really trust men with that.
A young patient would come in with period problems, but they unfortunately come in with their mothers. And then of course the treatment that we'd offer is taking birth control, but the mom would just be like, no, I don't want my daughter to take hormones, despite all the benefits that it can give. Hi, I'm Dr. Shilla and I'm an obstetrician and gynaecologist.
People don't see birth control pills as hormonal medicines, which is actually what they are. Even though they have a lot of applications beyond contraception, they still associate that with sex. Hi, my name is Shruti. I'm the founder and CEO of Womb Health Private Limited, which owns the brand Dear Dog and Duly. I always knew women's health is my passion. I feel like because being a woman, I could actually relate to a lot of the topics. And the whole idea of being able to help other women solve some of the same problems that I had was very rewarding. When doctors tend to prescribe this medication to young girls, the mothers are often quite scandalized. They're like, why are you giving my daughter birth control pills?
As you reach adolescence, hormone doesn't affect your growth. If anything, it could regulate your periods, prevent long-term future fertility problems.
So birth control pills have come a long way since it was developed in the 1960s by Bayer. A lot of different generation pills and combinations and formulations have come about over years. So before we launch a product, of course, we have to do research to understand the market, to understand consumer behavior. A lot of times when we asked women what prevented them from actually continuing birth control use, two topics always came up. One was cost, because birth control is something they have to use regularly. And the second was counseling. We get questions very often around supplements and, can I take this medication along with birth control? Or even just taking Panadol along with birth control.
The daily oral contraceptive pill would range from $20 to $40 a month, and that can add up.
A lot of times women are not sure what's really happening to them, if this is normal or if this is something they should be worried about. So women then tend to just get worried and then just stop. One of the other things that we also learned was the lack of certainty women had around religion and the use of birth control. What is really the religious practice and what is really allowed within the confines of their religion? Can I pray while I'm using the birth control patch? We actually had to really address that topic very specifically, that it's okay to be praying, because what women were doing often is that they were removing the patch while they're praying and then putting it back on, which actually reduces the efficacy of the birth control patch. We actually brought, on a forum, we brought doctors as well as media to actually have those open conversations to address a lot of these myths and misconceptions, which was very helpful.
The morning after pill is widely used in Singapore. It's just not talked about as much, but definitely people know it's there, people know how to ask for it, and people know when to ask for it. And interestingly enough, I think the unintended pregnancy rate in Singapore is far less than in the US.
In some countries, you would find that it's possible to procure these medicines without a consultation with a doctor. In Singapore, we happen to be in a system where we do require consultations to get any kind of hormonal or birth control pill, including emergency contraceptive pills. The reason why a lot of countries actually tend to put these restrictions is because they want to also prevent abuse. The implication that has for women is that they have a very short period of window of time when they can actually use that medication. And if in that time, if they have to make an appointment and consult a doctor, a lot of time is lost. And considering that the awareness around how to take these medicines is already quite low, a lot of women then tend to, miss these windows and run into the risk of having an unintended pregnancy. When we launched Dear Dog, we really wanted to make sure women get the right support and counseling that they need to practice birth control and use it the way that suits their own religion as well as their lives.
We should be as accessible as a general practitioner downstairs, easy to pop by. But unfortunately, we are like subgrouped in this specialist thing, so only if you have a problem, then you go and see a gynecologist. Whereas actually we should be your doctor buddy from like the minute you reach adolescence to menopause and even after menopause. Definitely I would say have a first point of contact visit, maybe when you are just having your period. And then the next point would be when you're starting or thinking about having sexual intercourse. So these are the big milestones where it's good to pop in. It would be a good long-term relationship for life.
Contraceptive methods have just been, involving women. There's very little that exists for men.
I feel probably the reason why there hasn't been any advances on that because medicine has generally and historically been dominated by men, and I feel that with more women in the medical field, we probably will come up with things that do improve women's health because it is up to us to help ourselves, right? We have contraception pills for women, the IUD, the contraception patch, the contraception injections, but what do we have for men? Condoms? Is it really the men? I mean, we have to carry it for them too sometimes, right? I wouldn't put the onus on men for condoms as well, yeah. I'm going to insult a lot of men out there.
We used to joke if there was a birth control pill for men, they may not actually take it every day. So women can't really trust men with that.
I wouldn't trust anybody else but myself to take care of my own health. Recently, they have come up with a male pill, but it's still in the preclinical stages, so fingers crossed. I had a pregnant lady who was on her 4th cesarean section. Okay, so we did her cesarean section, but it was super stuck inside. There was a lot of scarring, and we couldn't go ahead with doing the permanent tube ligation because it would just be too much risk. So after the surgery, we looked through the other contraception options. We suggested that the husband get a vasectomy, a simple minor surgery, but he did not want to have any part in it. Actually, it is quite a common occurrence. Men are just not accepting of a vasectomy. When I was training in the West, people would jump at having vasectomies because they did not want to have any more kids or unintended kids. But in Asia, it's a little bit more different. I think in the Asian culture, it's just not seen to be masculine. They think that it will affect your erection and sex drive, which is totally not true. If more people or more macho men like Andy Lau or Tony Leung was like, yeah, I've had a vasectomy, I'm cool with it, then I think everybody will be fine with it.
The risk of having an unintended pregnancy, especially in a setup where the partners are not married, the risk is much higher for women. Therefore, they have a much higher incentive to actually take care of that as opposed to men. I think for women particularly, the thought is always there that how can they make sure that they don't get pregnant. It's really more about the gender role with regards to responsibility. Because women are so used to taking responsibility for everything, certainly in the household, but also very often in a relationship. It just happens that the responsibility of taking care of contraception or birth control also then just automatically falls on them first. It is not just a responsibility for the woman, it is a joint responsibility and therefore a financial responsibility for both partners involved. It's really like supporting her. It could be something as simple as like making sure that, let's say, the pills are available. In Singapore, access to healthcare is generally quite good. I think the challenge is really around whether they feel comfortable doing that because a lot of times for young people or young women, they always fear being judged for being sexually active. So that I feel plays a constraint in terms of them actually accessing it. A lot of users have shared with us that when they consult a doctor in a clinic, they often feel that they're being judged or shamed for being sexually active, especially if they're unmarried. So with teleconsults, women feel very comfortable because they are in a place where they feel very safe. They are able to have a very private one-on-one conversation with a doctor and really open up.
What we're trying to change with female health and gynae visits is not just about seeking help when you're unhealthy, but also seeking help when you're healthy and trying to prevent things from happening or looking for things before things actually happen. I think we are at a special place of East meets West, modern versus old times. So I think we are very open. We know what's going out there, but just in the media and being so public about it is not quite there yet. I'm actually seeing it more and more nowadays with like Instagram, TikTok, and sometimes when we're the silent sufferers, we decide, oh, okay, someone else is talking about it. Maybe I should go and seek help too. So definitely better nowadays.
It's not so much about awareness and access anymore because there's enough information about birth control out there. It's, we live in an internet age, so there's enough information for anybody to learn about contraception if they wanted to. It's really about educating women about what is right for them.